Good day. Thank you for tuning into this forum for primary election for the Legislative District 2, Position 2 position. The forum is presented by the League of Women Voters of Thurston County and TCTV. The League is a nonprofit, nonpartisan political organization that encourages the informed participation of citizens in their government. The League registers new voters, studies issues, and advocates for positions with the legislature. Despite its name, the League is open to men as well as women. I'm Barbara Tice from the League, and I'll be moderating this forum. The candidate for Legislative District 2, Position 2, that we have present with us is Nathaniel Nate Downs, and the other candidates were unavailable for this forum. The candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and then I'll start asking him questions for which he will also have 2 minutes to answer. After that, he'll have 1 minute for a closing statement, and we'll begin then with his opening statement.
Hello. My name is Nathaniel Downs, and I'm running for your representative for Legislative District 2, the second seat. I was born in New Hampshire, grew up in New England, married a girl from Florida, and we decided on moving to Washington State almost 7 years ago because we love this area. We love this state. We love the people. We love the community. We love how green it is. When you grew up in an area that, my area of New Hampshire was heavily into dairy farming, that we ended up moving to an area that was very urbanized. Coming back to a nice community and nice home, exactly what we wanted. What we found was that despite having the community, it was not thinking of the future. We don't have the internet capability that we could have. Our water supply is aging, the power grid is getting older, and we're not taking care of it. If we don't plan for the future, we will not have a future, and we have to work together to get that done.
Thank you, Mr. Downs. I'll call him Nate for short. Now, for the first question, you will have 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes to answer this. How will the citizens of your district and the citizens of Washington State in general benefit from having you in this position?
Well, I grew up around technology. I grew up communicating with people. My household had its first modem. It's a 300 baud modem built in 1981. I'm familiar, I'm comfortable, and I love working with the social aspects of any internet. Somebody who wants to get a hold of me will find it particularly easy. I'm not running this campaign with a dozen staff, not a campaign manager sitting there filtering everything. Somebody wants to get a hold of me, I'm right there. And I'm going to continue going forward with that. So that means that when I get set up, when I'm in office, you will be able to go to my office and find me there. You'll be able to go on my website, and you'll be able to get a hold of me directly. I'm campaigning with a phone number that doesn't go to an office. It goes to me. I want people to be able to reach out there and and they'll have me at the other end. I know that I don't have all the answers, but I know that together we can get the right answers. We can have the right solutions.
Okay, thank you. All right, second question. We're getting more detailed now. What do you consider to be balanced and fair taxations for the citizens of Washington State?
Well, not what we have now. I believe in a recent survey they found us with the most regressive tax code. That means the people that make the least are paying the most in taxes. That doesn't work in the long term. We have to make our tax code so that those who make the most will pay the most. Those who make the least will pay the least. Now, this means also we have to diversify our tax code. In the last recession, state legislatures across the country ended up with huge budget shortfalls because they had structured their tax system around one or two primary sources. And history shows us if you only have one solution, something's going to happen, and you're going to be hit harder as a result. We do everything with property taxes and sales taxes. We need to diversify, be it taxes on financial transactions, or possibly a turnover tax, or taxes on businesses, or specialized taxes on high-end trade goods. Something's got to come, but we have to diversify, and we have to make that the diversification towards the upper income limits. Otherwise, we're just going to be doing this cycle all over again next time.
Okay. Now, the next session of the legislature has the difficult job of fully funding basic education for our students. How do you plan to do this?
Well, there's two approaches to handling any budget issue. You can either raise the income or cut the costs. Now, we've cut costs in education for years. We really, there's the cutting to the bone. We're getting kind of to that point. There's not much left. I mean, we can change some areas, we can shuffle, but we're going to have to increase the revenue going into our school system. And we have to do it without hitting more property taxes. We're going to have to do it without hitting new levies, because once again, that's just getting back into the same problem of the next time we have a downturn in the economy, it hits us again. My initial thought was to do a financial transaction tax. That's a small 0.5% to 1% tax on financial transactions above a set point. It's a one-time sales tax just for large stock trades or large loans. You'd be surprised how many large loans are done by a business in a year. They're short term, typically 90 days to 6 months, but that adds up. And there was a study where they found that a 1% tax in New York back in 1968 generated almost $500 million in 1968 just on financial transactions. That'd be my first focus for our education, because it's our kids. They're that important.
All right, thank you. What role do you think the legislature should play, if any, in the regulation of oil and coal transport across our state?
When you transport any good, accidents can happen. Coal and oil are both very nasty products, let's be honest. My grandfather worked for a company that helped produce steam turbines for oil-burning power plants for many years. I got to see particularly nasty sides of oil during some incidents at his work sites. He had a beautiful picture of a oil spill in Saudi Arabia that he ended up at, where he put a hard hat and a pair of gloves sticking out of it. But he pointed out that if to transport this, you have to be very careful, and you have to have safeguards in place. Now, the federal government is not going to have every safeguard possible for every possible state. That means we have to pick up the slack. We know We know our state better than they do. We know our state better than anyone. We have to have the safeguards in place that we need. Now, that might mean we transport it along certain lines and not others. It might mean that it has to be at certain times of day and not others. It might mean that we can only do so much at this line versus that line. But we're the ones that can make that decision because we're here on the ground. We see it, and we are the best qualified to make that determination.
All right. Next question, would you support additional efforts to address mental health care in this state? If so, what form might that take? And if not, why not? Well,
mental health is very important. My stepfather actually worked at the New Hampshire State Hospital for mental health before it shut down in the mid-'80s. Some of the people he had worked with, some of the people he helped take care of, he'd tell me about. And when they were shutting them down, the plan was to have smaller facilities available for these people to go to. People that needed support, needed the mental health network that the large facilities had, without the problems that the larger facilities had of the care being depersonalized. But these smaller facilities never appeared. Unless we are willing to have not quite individualized care, but smaller scope care, we're just kicking the problem down the road. Now, this, mental health covers a large variety, from anything from PTSD to schizophrenia to depression, and they need a support network. I would push for localized support of some sort, be that halfway houses or small care facilities or working with private individuals or organizations or social support groups, and get these small, focused mental help that really we've needed since the large facilities shut down way back in the 1980s.
Thank you. Several efforts to pass a bill authorizing automatic voter registration for 16-year-olds who receive a driver's license have failed to pass the legislature. Would you favor such a bill? And if not, why not?
Well, it makes perfect sense. You're getting the information from them. We want to encourage people to vote. That to not take the opportunity of registering to drive to get people interested and ready to vote seems an opportunity missed. If we have automatic voter registration, if we enable the people who will be our leaders in the future to get in on the ground floor when they're young, eager, ready, we build a better democracy over the long term. We want people to vote. We want everybody to vote. It makes no sense to not have automatic voter registration. It really doesn't. Not having it costs more, takes more time, and just adds frustration, not only to Olympia, not only to the politicians, but the voters, each of us. I know when I turned 18, I rushed out and it took me 3 hours to get registered to vote. And most of that was just waiting in line. And it would have been nice if, when I got my driver's license, well, it was already taken care of for me. We need to do what's best for the future, and that means we need to get people voting. The best way to do that is to register them early, register them completely, and make them aware that their voice matters.
Thank you. Do you think the legislature could or should assist in finding a solution for the statewide problem of homelessness? If so, what form might it take? And if not, why not?
First thing people forget about homelessness is that nobody goes out to become homeless. Nobody wakes up one morning and decides, I don't need a home anymore. Homelessness is a very big problem. It's happening in the big cities. It's happening in the small towns. I drove here through some of the smaller areas in our district, and there wasn't any community that did not see somebody somewhere struggling. It cost us a lot of money over the years, something like $80,000 a year to support the homeless per person. That's not very efficient. Now, there are test programs in other areas where they build or purchase small units, kind of tiny houses for people, for the homeless, and they found that costs less than it does to support a homeless person on the street or in a shelter. And by doing that, it helps break that cycle, helps get them off the street, helps give them a sense of community, of belonging, because they have somewhere to be, they have something they can hold onto. Well, it doesn't help everybody, no, but it will get the large number out of the system and moving forward to become productive, beneficial, and integrated part of the community at large. That's the best solution that we've got on the table, and it seems like the best solution we should go for.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Now it's time for your 1-minute wrap-up statement.
I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not perfect. I'm a small businessman who sees a big problem, and I want to step in to take care of it. My name is Nathaniel Downs. You can find my positions on almost anything at votedowns, VOTEDOWNES.com. And if you see, you want to know something that I haven't talked about, let me know. I will write up an opinion piece because you asked me to. I will tell you what I feel about any subject. I'm here to represent you. My name is Nathaniel Downs, and I would like your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of our forum. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, TCTV. Thank you, League of Women Voters of Thurston County, for making these opportunities possible. We hope, voters, that this will help you to make decisions when you vote in the August primary and in the general election. So please do remember that your vote does count. We hope you do vote, and thank you very much. Good day.